Vishnu Gurudevo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Akhanda Mandala Akaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Dhyanamulam Gurur Murti Puja Mulam Gurur Padam Mantra Mulam Gurur Vakyam Moksha Mulam Gurur Kripa Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Punaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahe Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om Chidarpanam Jai Gurudev. Let's chant first. Adhyay 8, first 8 shlokas. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Ashtamo Dhyaya Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tad Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adibhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adidaivam Kim Uchyate Adiyagnya Katham Kotra Dehesmin Madhusudana Prayana Kale Cha Katham Deyosi Niyatatmabhi Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavo Dhyatma Muchyate Bhuta Bhavo Dbhava Karo Visarga Karma Sanghitaha Adibhutam Ksharo Bhava Purushashchadidaivatam Adiyagnohamevatra Dehe Deha Pritambara Antakale Cha Mameva Smaran Muktva Kalevaram Ya Prayati Samadbhavam Yati Nastyatra Sanshayah Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tyajatyante Kalevaram Tam Tamevaiti Kaunteya Sada Tadbhava Bhavitaha Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mamanusmara Yudhyacha Mayyarpita Mano Buddhir Mame Vaishya Sasanshayam Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa nanya paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchintayan. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Adhyay 8, Akshar Brahma Yoga. Bhagwan is now moving into the second class or second group of Adhyayas from Tattvamasi. Like we said last time, the first 6 Adhyayas were all about what we need to do, Karma Yoga. And now, 6th Adhyay comes, you have done Karma Yoga, you have done some purification, you can sit in Dhyan. So all the Dhyan technique was given to us. From 7th, he reveals his true identity right from the beginning. That I am not just your Sakha, I am just not your relative, I am that. And so now the whole 7th to 12th will all be Gyan of what is that. So first, of course, Akshar Brahma Yoga. Brahma is that imperishable, undestroyable, infinite substratum of the whole universe, and that is exactly what we are going to understand, how to reach from Tvam to Tat, right? From Tvam, you as a Jivatma, how can you understand, how can you recognize yourself, because you're already that, but how will you be able to recognize yourself as that? So now we are on Shlok 5. Let's just read 5 again. Antakale cha mameva Smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra sanshayah. He who departs from the body, thinking of me alone, even at the time of death, attains my state, there is no doubt about it. Okay? Very, very important 3 shlokas today, because not only is it going to tell you the purpose of all your sadhanas, but in one word you will know the purpose of your life. So purpose of sadhana and purpose of life. Let's get the meanings of this short shloka. Ya, he, who, prayati, departs, smaran, thinking, mameva, of me alone, antakale, at the time of death, muktva, by giving up, kalevaram, the body, sir, that person, yati, attains, madbhavam, my state, nastyatra sanshayah, there is no doubt about it. The 7th Adhyay, if you remember, concluded with 6 obscure terms and 1 question, 1 idea. And we were also surprised, and so was Arjun. So when 8th Adhyay starts, the first 2 shlokas, Arjun is asking Bhagwan, what all did you say? I didn't understand. Can you explain these 6 terms and 1 question? What were they, if you'll remember? First one was, what is Brahma? Then, what is Adhyatma? Then, what is Karma? Then, what is Adibhutam? Adi Daiva, Adi Yajna. And the 7th was what needs to be done at the time of death. So 3 and 4 Shlok 3 and Shlok 4, Bhagwan answered the 6 questions. And now in this 5th shloka, he is going to answer the 7th question. What needs to be done at the time of death? Now this is probably one of the most important things we all need to know. And only one word is an answer to that. And that word is there in the shloka, Smaran. Smaran. Smaran means thinking. Smaran also means remembering. And in both these meanings will be important. Thinking also and remembering also. So let's see the importance of this word Smaran. Purpose of sadhana, the entire purpose of sadhana is so that we can remember. Why do we say that? Sadhana ka purpose is what? Purification. Purification of the mind, if it comes at a certain stage of purity, then only you will remember who you are. Right? Because what is the purpose of life? Self-realization. Self-realization means knowledge of the self. So how will you get knowledge? By removing ignorance. Right? Opposite of ignorance is knowledge. So ignorance is removed by knowledge of the self. So from where are you going to get this knowledge of the self? Where do you have to go to get this knowledge? It is already who you are. It is already who you are. So you don't have to acquire anything new. You have to only remember your nature. Therefore, Smaran or self-realization means remembering who you are. And remembering ka word is Smaran. Smaran means to remember. How will you remember? By cleansing your antakaran. So now how will that happen? So then comes the meaning thinking. Thinking of God continuously through your life will help you to remember God at the time of death. Therefore, Smaran includes thinking also as a sadhana and remembering as the purpose of life. So Smaran includes both these aspects. So now thinking, Smaran is, you keep both these meanings, thinking also and remembering also. The problem is that we have forgotten our true nature. So we have to remember it. Like if you've forgotten where you have put your phone, then you have to remember it. In the same way, we have simply forgotten our true identity, our true nature, because of remembering so many other unnecessary things. So now we have to just clear the mind so that we remember who we are. So what is the Shastras tell us, what is the surest way of remembering? Thinking constantly of Bhagwan, being connected constantly to Bhagwan. So, one of my most favorite shlokas, many of you know that also, is in the 18th Adhyay. In the 18th Adhyay, Bhagwan Krishna asks Arjun, now I have told you all the knowledge. And has your ignorance gone yet or not? And what does Arjun reply? Nashto moha smritir labdha. Smritir labdha. Smriti labdha means memory has been regained. I have got the memory again of who I am. And therefore, I am free of doubt. Karishye vachanam tava. I will do your bidding. So Arjun remembered his identity after 18 adhyayas. So he could do his dharma. So he could do his duty. So like Arjun, we also have to remember who we truly are so that we can live dharmically and we can reach our goal. So, how to remember? Bhagavan says, most important time to remember is antakale. Antakale, at the time of your death. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram. He who departs from the body thinking of me alone, even at the time of death. Even at the time of death. Even. Not only at the time of death. The important word is even at the time of death. Here Bhagavan is giving one updesh. This is an updesh. What is that updesh? Updesh is you have to think of me at the time of death. Now how we have to figure out how it's going to happen that at the time of death I will be thinking of Bhagavan. So muktva means giving up, kalevaram, the body. At the time of giving up the body, we have to think of Bhagavan. So now, does it mean that only when you are actually dying, you are giving up the body? So this antakale, at the time of death, has to be understood properly.
Sleep also. Sleep.
Every night, before going into deep sleep, we are giving up the body. Right? We have no more attachment to the body, mind, intellect, senses, ego. All these things are disappearing in deep sleep, and we are allowing ourselves to give up the body. We are allowing ourselves to fall into deep sleep. Yes? So in other words, we are allowing ourselves to go into deep sleep means we are giving up the body. There is also every day we are giving up the body, and there is no guarantee that we will get it back. The next morning, whether my eyes will open in this loka or in some other loka, God alone knows. But willingly we are giving up the body every night in deep sleep. So that is also a time when we have to be constantly thinking of the divine. Any other time, antakale, when we are giving up the body, muktva kalevaram.
Deep meditation.
In deep meditation, absolutely right. When we are in deep meditation, we are no longer aware of the body, we are no longer aware of the mind. We have kind of allowed those things to dissolve. So there also we are actually giving up the body. That is also called muktva kalevaram. You are free from the body. Any other? Japa. Japa, yes, same thing. Meditation, japa, we can call it the same thing. Any other time we feel that the awareness of the body is like
Deep devotion.
the same thing. Devotion, meditation, japa.
Anger, deep anger.
There you are nice.
Forgetting.
Not in anger.
You're fully in the moment.
So when are you fully in the moment? When you are doing karma yoga. When you are deeply doing karma yoga, you are no karta bhav. If you are really doing an action in karma yoga, you'll forget about hunger, you'll forget about sleep, you'll forget about everything. You'll be in the moment. So when you are in that moment, there's another time when we are actually giving up the body. And of course, at the time of self-realization, when you remember, I am Atma, that time the body though drops from the mind, the attachment to the body, mind, intellect, everything drops forever. You are aware, body is there, body doesn't go anywhere, but the attachment in the mind to the body goes away. So therefore, giving up the body, antakale, is not just at the time of death, not at the last moment. Therefore, it is recommended you should be thinking of the divine at all times. At all times. Is there any guarantee when that actual last moment will come? Potentially every minute could be the last minute, right? And every time we exhale also, there is no guarantee that there will be one inhalation after that. So with every breath, this is the meaning between the lines, that not just at the time of death, at every moment, even when you go to sleep, remember the last thought, keep it as the thought of Bhagwan. And remember the first thought when you wake up, also keep it as the thought of Bhagwan. That means the whole night will be spent in the thought of Bhagwan. It will be considered as a sadhana. Alright, so every moment is potentially antakale. Every moment is potentially antakale, time of death. Now, we can interpret or take this at two levels. One is, how does this apply to a Jivan Mukta who has already attained self-realization? And how will it apply to one who is still in the process of attaining self-realization? Now, when he experiences himself as Atma, that very second Smaran happens. Not the thinking one, the remembering one. So at that very moment, he remembers his true identity, and neither the body, nor the mind, nor the intellect, nor the ego, nor the rags or dvesh or anything can now hold him captive. So for him, who has remembered his true self, this last minute is no longer that important, provided he is living that knowledge. Okay, it is possible also, who knows, even after Jivan Mukta, if he's not getting established in that, then he may also need that last moment ka little bit of push. But it is more likely that even at the last moment he will remember, because you cannot forget this kind of a memory. So he drops his attachment to the body, he drops his attachment to the mind, he's dropped his attachment to the intellect. His BMI, his body, will continue till his prarabdha lasts. Till the prarabdha is there, the body will continue. The body will continue to do its dharma. The mind will continue to do its dharma. Intellect will continue to do its dharma. But mentally and spiritually, he no longer identifies with any of them. So not so crucial, that last minute thing for the Jivan Mukta. Therefore, it is very important that one tries to reach that stage as fast as possible. And so he stays in Mad Bhavam. The Jivan Mukta remains in my state, remains as in the state of Atma. Now what about those who are in the pipeline? Those who are seekers, those who are doing sadhana, those who are doing who are sadhaks. For them, this last minute thing becomes of paramount importance. To be able to ensure that one particular thought only remains in my mind at the time of death means you have to make that a habit. It has to be a habit that one cultivates all one's life. It is a lifelong sadhana. Because at that time, everything is on the downward spiral. The mind becomes weak, the faculties become weak, thinking becomes dull, and sometimes there are so many aches and pains and whatever discomforts in the body. To be able to remember Smaran, to be able to do that, to be able to remember that I must remember God, that also you will forget. So, and certain situations may make it very difficult to do it at the last minute, because death doesn't always come announced. Suddenly, khate pite chalte firte, people have dropped. So there is no announcement, I am coming, that Yamma Duts are not waving out, I am coming. There is no, WhatsApp message coming to you that we are on our way. So unaware you will go. Or you may be in coma. Do you remember Bhavna last time asked that question, what if I am in coma? Or you are having such a lot of physical and mental also discomfort because of prolonged illness. There also that man nahi kar raha hai, that kind of feeling, that bechaini feeling, you'll not be able to do. So we have to make the habit. Habit has to come, and that is where sadhana comes in. So now what all will we do habit of? What do you think? What kind of sadhanas do you think we will require to remember God at that last moment?
Mental
Japa, regular satsang, Nam Smaran. So most important, especially the mantra which you have been given. See now the importance of that mantra. It has to become default setting. So even if the body is dull, even the mind is dull, those people who are doing japa for a long time, you sit like this, only that japa is going on in the background. Very important. So you have to be able to get that default setting of mantra going on in the mind, because otherwise there are so many other default settings already there. And here is where the Ishtadev comes into use. So Ishtadev is there, remembering the name of your Ishtadev, remembering to take the name of God should just simply happen without you having to be vigilant about it. Okay? So why is this important? Bhagwan says, because at that last moment, whatever you will be thinking will be the gati that you will attain in your future life. All right.
If you jump between mantras or between,
you will not get that default setting. There will always be some confusion. In the beginning, it's good. We want to do japa of this God also, of that God also, because we have so many desires to be fulfilled. We want to do. Now, then, when your goal becomes single, then you will be single-pointedly doing that mantra. But when you have several goals and you have to invoke Lakshmi Mata also, you have to invoke Shani Dev also, you have to invoke Shivji also, you have to invoke Vishnu Bhagwan also, then till your bucket list finishes, go on doing. But we are talking about those who have only one goal left. Then one goal left is only one mantra.
no,
So
I'm
Ishtadev
using,
and Guru mantra is different then?
Then you have to talk to your guru about it.
I'm using mostly Guru mantra only, but sometimes I do Hare Rama.
All the questions you put it down and we'll take them later. Sometimes it has also been, kathas have come that people have not developed that habit. But one katha is there, Narayan, Narayan. So at the last minute of death, that person is dying, he's gone off the track, but he has named his son Narayan. So at the time of death, he calls out Narayan, but Narayan is also Bhagwan. So he gets saved. So there is one story like that also. But I'm not don't rely on that great grace that somebody will hear you calling out Krishna, Krishna, and then and Krishna will come to your rescue. I think it is better to develop the habit of smaran, thinking. First you develop the habit of thinking. The habit of thinking will help you to remember. So smaran, remember that word smaran. And Bhagwan says, Smaran mameva. Think of me alone. So who is this me? That is why. Who is this me? Now you understand why Bhagwan gave all those 6 different definitions. So depending on the level of your thinking, whether you want to have faith in Adhibhutam, or you want to have faith in Adhidaiva, or you want to have faith in Adhiyagnya, or in Adhyatma, where is your nishtha? There you will be thinking, right? So Bhagwan is telling you think of me, he is telling you think of Brahma. Establish yourself in the Atma. But if you are not established there and your nishtha is still little confused, then you will not know where exactly that thought should be. So see how beautifully he first gave all the definitions. So, and we also realized that all these different levels were all Brahma only, right? When we took it backwards, all of them were Brahma only. So have that nishtha, everything is Brahma. Don't think halfway, think completely Aham Brahmasmi. Okay. And nastyatra sanshaya. There is no doubt if you are established in the self, and even at the time of death you remain established in the self, you will come to me alone. Clear? Very simple, but very important. Okay, now little bit more he clarifies in the 6th shloka. Let's read it. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Arjun, thinking of whatever entity as one leaves the body at the time of death, that and that alone one attains, being ever absorbed in its thought. Looks like a repetition of the earlier shloka, but little bit different. Kaunteya, means Arjun, son of Kunti. Again the word comes smaran, thinking. Yam yam vapi, whatever entity. Tyajati, one gives up. Thinking of whatever entity, one gives up. Kalevaram, the body. Ante, at the time of death. Eti, one attains. Tam tam eva, that and that alone. Sada tad bhava bhavitaha, being ever absorbed in that thought. Kaunteya, son of Kunti. Kunti is Bhagwan Krishna's father's sister. So by using this Kaunteya, he is reminding Arjun, you are my cousin and I care for you. There's an affection there, you are dear to me, and that is why I'm giving you this very, very important secret, tip. So he is bringing Arjun close to him. I'm not just telling you because I'm trying to scare you or I'm trying to, tell you something out of my top of my head. This is a very important secret and I don't give it to everybody. So clearly it is said that we have to think of Bhagwan at the time of death. Also, we know that it is going to be very difficult to do it. The mind always reverts to the thought that you have always been predominantly keeping in your mind. Forget time of death, otherwise also. Otherwise also, whatever you continuously think of, if you're just sitting there doing nothing, your mind will go back to that particular thought. That Dukan story you remember. So, yam yam vapi smaran bhavama. Whatever you may be thinking at the time of death, at the time of giving up the body, whatever you may be thinking, you will get that only. So it's not just about thinking of me. Okay, I didn't think of you, okay, I don't get God. You understand the difference? In the earlier one, he says, think of me alone, you will attain my state. Okay, I didn't think of God, doesn't matter. I didn't attain. But what were you thinking? That also you have to worry about. It's not just about not thinking of God. What are you thinking of? That, whatever it may be, dukan to dukan, business to business, this, whatever it may be, you will attain that very thing. So we not only have to worry of that I may not think of God at the last minute, but I may be thinking of something bhalta. And now my entire next life, I will be going down that road. So this is where it is slightly different, this shlok from the earlier shlok. You could be thinking of your business. You could be thinking of some grudge. You could be getting anger. Because a person who is chronically angry, at that moment he may be angry also. Chronically jealous, he will be jealous at that moment. Chronically lacking, he will be lacking in that moment. So whatever is your predominant personality, that is going to come up at that time itself. So there is that story of Jada Bharat. There was a king, and he was a very benevolent king. He was also a very pious king, and he ruled for many years, very like a benevolent kind of a good monarch. And when he became a little bit old, he said, now I think it's time for me to focus on my spiritual growth. So he gave the kingdom, his crown and everything to his son, gave up all his riches, and he went to live in the forest. And there he built one small cottage, and he used to sit for meditation. Many years passed, and he lived in that very pious, austere, kind of a very sattvic. His mind also was very nice. He used to sit for hours and hours in meditation. One day, he heard some noise. There was a little river kind of thing where he was sitting. He opened his eyes and he saw one deer had come to drink water in the river. And the deer was little bit like agitated because right behind one lion had come and wanted to pounce on the deer. So she got frightened and agitated, shocked, and she took a leap trying to jump to the other side of the river. Unfortunately, the deer was with child. She was pregnant. And with that shock and that exertion, she gave birth to the child. The child deer was getting washed away in the river, and the mother deer died. Now this baby deer was just getting washed away in the river. Now this king, who was almost like a sage now, sant he had become, he said, I cannot let this baby animal die. So he got up from his meditation and he picked up the deer and he took care of it and did whatever he could do, and he saved the life of the baby deer. And he said, now, the mother's dead, I don't know what to do. I'll keep this deer in my house. And like a single parent, he looked after that deer, he fed it, he nurtured it, he cleaned it, he bathed it, he did everything. He became the father of the deer, and a great love developed for that deer. A great attachment developed. The deer grew up, became an adult deer, and he would wander in the forest also on his own, and he would wait, where is my son, where is my son, where is my son? He's so late, not come back home. How we do, no? Son has not come back home. Till the deer comes back, he would not eat, he would stay awake. And years passed like that. And there was such an attachment to that deer that at the last moment of his life, he could no longer think of Bhagwan. Forget last moment. In many years, he could not sit for meditation anymore. He could not think of Bhagwan. His mind was constantly in that deer. So, last moment, he thought of his deer. And Bhagwan was no longer in his mind. And what do you think? He got birth again as a deer. He got birth again as a deer. But with the sanskars, so no sadhana is ever wasted. It's a very long story, cut it short. He remembered, because of his sadhana, tapasya and so many things, that this is what has brought him to as a deer. As a deer, he could remember all that. He lived out his prarabdha as a deer. He got birth again as a Brahmin. And through the Brahmin, he attained liberation finally. But 2-3 lives he had to spend because of that one attachment. Therefore, tam, yum, whatever you will be thinking of, in that you will get your next birth. Therefore, the importance for those who are not enlightened, that abhyas has to be there, that I must keep my mind fixed on Bhagwan. Otherwise, we have so many other things to keep our mind fixed on. Business is there, family is there, children are there, this one is there, and all unnecessary things also. Okay? So we have to now take it all in, like do neti of what you have to not think of, so that you can remember what you have to think of. So what is this? Intense material attachment is an obstacle to your spiritual progress, even if it is to your own child. Even if it is to your own child. Do the dharma of looking after your child in karma yoga bhava without any attachment. That is why they are saying the whole life is a preparation for death. We don't have to just know the art of living. We have to know the art of dying. So upasana, nam smaran, jap, kirtan, bhakti, all this swadhyay, it will keep you anchored. Okay? Otherwise, sansar is very easily going to pull you out. Very easy. You have to do no effort for that. We need no effort to think of sansar and its various things. We need lot of effort to not think of sansar. So that is where Purusharth will come in. Alright. So this is the updesh of this shloka. One is, at the time of death, think of me. But also remember what? You should not be thinking of. Just one more shloka I want to do today, because I don't want to confuse too many thoughts. One more shloka today. 7. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmarayudhya cha mayyarpita mano buddhir mame vaishyasya sanshayam. Therefore, Arjun, think of me at all times and fight with mind and reason. Thus set on me, you will doubtless come to me. First in Shlok 5 also he said doubt, there is no doubt. Now also is in a conclusion, He's saying, doubtless you will come to me. In Shlok 5, he said, think of me at the time of death. And here he's saying, think of me at all times. There is a progression. After telling the dangers of not thinking of me, now he's little bit advanced his Updesh, not only at the time of death, at all times. Come, let's take the meanings. Tasmat is therefore, you know that very well. Anusmara. Now smara, you know, is to remember. Anusmara. Think lovingly. Anurag, we say, Anurag. Think lovingly. Mam, of me. Sarveshu kaleshu, at all times. Yudhya cha, and fight. Arpita, dedicating. Mayi, to me. Mana, your mind. Buddhi, your intellect. Eshyasi eva, you will attain. Mam, me. Asanshayam, doubtlessly. Such a grand goal. What is the grand goal? Attaining me. Grand goal, attaining me. Such a grand goal will require some grand effort. Right? You will have to work hard. You will have to train the mind. You'll have to prepare the mind. You'll have to be disciplined. You'll have to be dedicated, because if it was that easy, everyone would have been attaining Brahma only. So, the two shlokas earlier have told us that the last moment is crucial. Now, we have to see in this shlok how to do this, how to do the smaran, how to be thinking of God all the time, and how to remember God. So, training of the mind, 3 points are there in this shloka. 3 points. It's very beautiful. The first one is Mamanusmara. Think of me lovingly. See, we are all living in sansar, and we have to be thinking of sansar because we have to make a living, we have to interact, we have to think of business, we have to think of our profession, we have to think of our family, we have to think of our society, we have to think of all these things. Yes or no? Necessary. Yes or no?
Yes.
But is it necessary to think of all this constantly? Think of it when you need to think of it. But we don't just think of it when we need to think of it. We are all the time we are supposed to think of Brahma. But all the time we are thinking of Bahir, everything, Sansar we are thinking of. And it's even worse now. Even if suppose we are so tired, can't think of business now anymore. Children, you also don't bother me. Can't think of family. I can't think of finances. I can't think of all this. Scrolling. We cannot keep our mind on Bhagwan anymore. This has become the pitiable state of our mind. We cannot, because scrolling is also sansar only, no? In tamas. Scrolling is thinking of sansar in tamas state. When you are actively like worrying, and that's all rajas. But even when Rajas, you're so tired from so much of thinking, you know why you fall asleep? You know why you fall asleep? Because your indriyas are tired of dealing with the world. Your mind is tired of thinking. That is why we finally have to fall asleep. We overwork the mind and we overwork our indriyas, karma and gyan. Finally they said, we give up. Just let us go to sleep. So even at that moment, in the bed, scrolling. No one is making a priority of thinking of Bhagwan. That priority is not there. That I have to think of Bhagwan. That goal is no longer there. If you want 100 goals of 2026, make this one goal also. Making time to think of Bhagwan. Bhagwan is saying, think of me at all times. But at least let me think of God for 5 minutes. That also when we do puja, fatafat, chalo, jaldi, karo, got to go to work, got this, that, cooker is on the fire, this one is coming, that phone call, this one, that one. Even at the time of puja, we are not thinking of God. Be honest. So Bhagwan says, you have to Mam Manu Smara. Think of me lovingly. Lovingly. What does it mean, lovingly? What does it mean of Ishtadev? What is Ishta? Love. Ishta means love. That Deva who you love, who is your beloved. Now many people say we don't have Ishtadev. Because how you will have a beloved? You're not spending any time with the beloved. How the beloved will become a beloved? So spend time. Make the connection. If you are spending enough time in puja, I don't understand how you cannot have a Ishtadev. You have to hear the kathas. The kathas will tell you about all the leelas. When you do puja, all the beautiful, like the shringar, the smell, the ittar, the flowers. What is the use of all these things in upasana? Is to attract you. Is to attract you to the Bhagwan. And people say, oh, this is all idol worship. They aren't understanding the importance of developing that connection. You have to develop that connection at this basic level only. Then the Ishta develops. Then the attraction develops. And then it takes you to thinking of that constantly. That purifies the mind. And then you can take your worship to that higher Nirgun level. But first, at least develop the connection at the Sagun level. Think of me lovingly, constantly. So we may have Ishtadev also. That is also there. Some people may have Ishtadev. But what you are doing with that Ishtadev? Give me this, give me that. Make this happen, make that happen. Bring this one in my life, take this one out of my life. That is not called thinking lovingly. That is vyapar. That is some dhandha you are doing with your Ishtadev. Loka, I have chadao this to you today. And 10 rupiya bhi rakha hai. Now you please ensure this person gets out of my life. Bas, enough. I cannot do it anymore. Or please make sure this person comes in my life. Please make sure that lottery comes to me. Please make sure this happens. Please. Oh, you are dictating terms to your Ishtadev. No, not like that. Think of me lovingly, constantly. Okay? This loving bhava is called bhavna. This is the meaning of that word, bhavna. So mind has to get absorbed. See, like a sponge. When you put a sponge in the water, it fully pulls it in. That mind should be a sponge which is just getting absorbed in the divine. It's a beautiful feeling. When you develop that Ishta connection with your Ishtadev, you feel it. You feel that connection. You feel not like I am connected with. You feel oneness. You feel that oneness. That oneness is the bhavna which you need to develop. Think of Ma Manusmara. And also know that this bhavna, this unconditional love, is a precursor of Gyan. Till this doesn't come, the Gyan will not open fully. Because Gyan has to come from head to the heart. Heart has to open. And this bhavna opens the heart. Very, very important. Because we say, no, opposite of ignorance is knowledge. Knowledge is required for self-realization. So people are only focusing on the knowledge. But knowledge is dry. It cannot work without this opening of the heart. So this is the first point that you have to develop. The second one is Yudhya. Fight. Fight. Why Bhagwan is telling us to fight so that we can think of God at the time of death? Don't forget the location of this Bhagavad Gita is on the battlefield. And don't forget, he is talking to Arjun, who has forgotten his dharma. Arjun is a Kshatriya. He is supposed to fight. This is a war of dharma, not a war for getting a kingdom. It is the war for getting rid of dharma, for which, war for getting rid of adharma, for which Bhagwan has taken this whole avatar. And Arjun is just the instrument who is going to help this whole big project happen. So that is why Bhagwan is telling him, you are a Kshatriya, your kartavya karma, your dharma is to fight adharma and protect dharma. So he is giving Arjun the go-ahead to fight. Remember that in Adhyay 2, he said, you have to fight because this is an open gateway to heaven for a Kshatriya. It's an open gateway. Shlok number 32 and 33 in Adhyay 2. And if you refuse to fight this righteous war, shirking your duty, you will incur sin. So this is why Bhagwan is telling him, you must fight. Now Arjun is overwhelmed. With what? Guilt. Because how is he going to kill his guru? How is he going to kill his family members, his brothers? So Bhagwan says, I am the mighty Kal, the destroyer of the worlds. This is in Adhyay 11 finally. And I am out here to exterminate these people. And even without you, even if you run away, all these warriors arrayed in the enemy's camp shall die. Whether you want to be a part of this dharma or not, the fate of all these adharmis has already been decided. And I have come here to execute that project. Therefore, uttishtha. Therefore, get up and take your weapons and do your duty, because you are only an instrument in this entire project. He says, fear not, they are already stand killed by me. No karma is coming to you. They are already standing killed by me. Fight and you will surely conquer the enemies in this war. Now what has that got to do with us?
We have to fight against our own resistance.
How am I going to be training my mind? Who do I have to? I have to make my mind stable by fighting. How is this? This sounds contradictory. I have to keep this. This is all training for keeping the mind stable. And Bhagavan is saying, go fight.
They can't keep stable until you fight the.
That
You
is
have to
a
fight out
fight
the
our
enemies.
vrittis.
You have to fight, meaning you have to do your duty. Arjun's duty was to fight. According to your varna, according to your ashram, according to your status, you also uttishta, get up and do whatever is your kartavya karma. Because doing your kartavya karma in karma yoga bhav will purify your mind. Karma yoga ka job is to purify the mind. When your mind is purified, there will be no more vikshepa. When there is no more vikshepa, you'll be able to keep your mind steady. Keep your mind steady, you'll be able to think of God. Then at the time of death, you'll think of God. Then you'll get your sattvic gati. Getting it? So the message is loud and clear. To train the mind, you have to first purify it. And to purify it, you must do your dharma. What is your dharma? Your allotted duty. And your prarabdha will tell you what your allotted duty is. Your circumstances in life, where you are, will tell you, give you a clear message, this is my duty. Mostly, it is the thing that we are trying to avoid the most. Is it making sense? So the first thing to train the mind is what? Mamanusmara, think of Bhagwan lovingly, constantly. Second, do your kartavya karma in karma yoga bhav. What is Bhagwan telling us? How to think of God at the last minute. See that this is for that purpose. And the third, Mayar Pita Mano Buddhi, keep your mind and intellect set on me. Mayar Pita Mano Buddhi. Man is mind, Buddhi is intellect. Arpit. Arpit, you are offering Maya to me. You are offering your mind and your intellect to me. And here is the secret. This is the secret. We want to lovingly think of God. Means you have to open the heart. This is that key which will open the heart. This is the key. Secret vault. Okay? Bhagwan is residing in your heart. Okay? How will I open that heart and connect with Bhagwan? We have the key, but we are refusing to open it. We are refusing to use the key. Arpit means what? Offer. Surrender also. Samarpit we say. Offering everything means samarpit. We claim to have Ishtadev. Right? We claim we are doing our duty. We claim we have surrendered. We claim we want moksha. This is our claim. Yes or no? But have you really honestly introspected if all these are correct? Have you really surrendered to your Ishtadev? Or is your mind and intellect still keeping some decisions to be taken contrary to what the Shastras are saying? Yes or no? There is not total condition, it's a conditional surrender. What we like to surrender to, we will surrender. Baki ka, my buddhi knows better. This buddhi na can be your, like, mind is your friend and your enemy. Mind meaning man and buddhi. Either it is your friend or it is your enemy. Let's see how we have not surrendered our mind. We'll be very practical. With our mind, we are still making sankalps. Sankalps means what? Ambition. We have still got some ambitions left. With our mind, we still have wish lists, bucket lists. Every year, that bucket list becomes bigger and bigger, longer and longer. So that means we have not surrendered the mind, isn't it? With our mind, we are still seeking for sukh in vishais. We still have harbored the thought in your mind, sukh is there in the vishay. We are still running into the sansar to be happy. The mind, therefore, is, understand, not yet surrendered. Not surrendered. What about buddhi? Is the buddhi surrendered? No. Why? Because we are justifying our running into sansar. We are justifying our likes and dislikes. We are justifying our rags and dvesh. एक chocolate cake तो बनता ही है आज, you know. Such a tiring day. My boss was so terrible today. I must have one shot of whatever you all drink. Like this, we justify our rag, we justify our attachments. This is the job of the intellect, not surrendered. Not surrendered. Then, what else? Judging others, putting labels on them, putting them into one box and another box and another box and another. What is the surrender there? There is no surrender. We are still kept our mind and intellect in the control of the ego. Bhagwan is saying, Mayar Pita Mano Buddhi, give me your mind and your intellect and let me drive your chariot. Let me take you where you need to go, which is in your highest interest. Give me the reins of your mind. Then you can say, I have surrendered. So this is the important part, the third one, which will help you to do your duty also, and which will help you also to think of Bhagwan constantly. So while performing our actions, not that we have to stop performing any actions, while performing our actions which are already laid down for us by our prarabdha will tell you what our kartavya karam is. While doing that, we have to train the mind, not giving up everything. While actively doing our kartavya karam, we have to train our mind and we have to remain established, either in the Ishtadev or in the Atma, one of the two, depending on where you feel the connection. It's a progression. So what are the three things? Think of me lovingly and constantly. Do your kartavya karma and surrender your mind and intellect to the higher cause. If you do that, then there is a chance that you will be able to train your mind. Still, you will only reach the stage of training the mind. And once you will do that Purusharth, then there is definitely a chance that at the Antakale, at the time of death, that thought will remain predominant in your mind. Bhagwan says, you will doubtless come to me. Doubtless. Guarantee. Guarantee. It's a guarantee. Not my guarantee. Bhagwan's guarantee. So why we can't do this? What is the problem with these 3 points of thinking constantly of Bhagwan? And so many times, not first time Bhagwan is saying all these things, right? 8th chapter. 8th chapter is 3rd, 4th, so many times he has said all these things. So we have heard it 4 times also. 4th time we are doing Bhagavad Gita. So why? What do you think is the cause that it has not yet happened?
Goal is not fixed.
Goal is not fixed. Why? Think of that. Why is not fixed?
Still we are in Dhyanishta.
Why? Why you're still there? You are in Dhyanishta, but why you are still in Dhyanishta?
We have pleasure, seek pleasure in, or take pleasure from sansaric.
So the point is, you still have faith in the sansaric Vishay giving you happiness. It is a question of faith.
Also laziness.
Faith. Laziness, tamas, so then there is no faith only. If there is tamas, then there cannot be faith. Tamas is, faith is not a tamasic guna. So it's a question of faith. See, we don't lack faith because we have very much of faith to know in the knowledge that if I put my finger in that diya, my finger will get burnt. Yes or no? I have faith. I have put good faith in this knowledge. I have also got good faith in the knowledge of law of gravity. That is why I will not jump from the window. I have full faith in the knowledge, if I jump from here, I am going to die down. And God knows whether I will remember God at that time. But we don't have faith in the knowledge that Bhagwan is giving. That faith is lacking. If faith was there, goal also would get fixed. Faith is the foundation. So check somewhere, where is the faith lacking in Bhagwan? Probably because there is higher faith in the Vishayas of Sansar. Higher faith. Because we are telling again and again, this is where you can get permanent bliss. This is where you can get permanent freedom. And the bliss of Aparoksh Anubhuti is the bliss of freedom. Freedom from your body or the dukhs of your body. Freedom from the slavery of desires. That is what is moksha. That is the meaning of bliss. Freedom. Not being dependent on anything. That happiness is what we are striving for. But instead of that, we are becoming more and more slaves of our desires. We are becoming more and more dependent on Vishayas. We are becoming more and more victims of our own desire. Because somewhere this faith is stronger than the faith in the Shastras. So, no problem. Faith becomes strong, Samarpan will become strong. When I have faith in God, why should I worry about this small mind and this small buddhi taking decisions? I have given myself to the hands of God. Now you decide, na? You decide what is wrong, right for me and what is wrong for me. This is more power, not less power. So, think of these things because you know now the importance of training the mind for the last moment at the time of death. Therefore, start. Bhagwan has told you 3 things at the end. He's going to tell more also. More slow. Don't get so serious. It is possible. Okay? It's possible. So, more shlokas are coming next time also on this same topic. But this is the beginning. We can start. We can start. Next Thursday there is no class. 2 weeks you have. Apply something from here. See how it works for you. Make it your own truth. Okay. Enough for today. There are two guarantees. 5th shlok also guarantee. 7th shlok also guarantee. Bhagwan is giving guarantee from his own mouth, then how can we not believe it? How can we not have faith? Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Chidatma. Jai Gurudev. Thank you.